What's up, everybody? How are you? Man, I'm kind of in a rush today, and I don't know if I can hear myself. It's kind of annoying. Let's see. Let me know, guys. Can you hear me? That would be great. Um, Sorry I couldn't come on last week. There was a death in my family. My wife's mother passed away, and I was really, really close with her. Um, and that was on Saturday. So, you know, check this testing. All right. Well, I don't know if the headphones are on my computer or my phone, which has got the camera on it. So I'm just kind of going with it. You know what I mean? Um, anyway, I hope everybody can hear me. So yeah, that my mother-in-law, I was really close with her. It hasn't hit me yet, and it's been a week. I've obviously been sad and that kind of thing, but I haven't. I feel like it's gonna come where I break like a twig. I was really close with my mother-in-law's husband a couple years ago. I mean, I was close with him, but when he passed, um, I was kind of the same thing, just kind of numb, just kind of like thinking of memories and stuff. And then at the funeral, I just broke, and nobody could stop me from crying. It was just like it just hit me so hard, and I feel like that's going to happen again with my mother-in-law. Only thing is, we're having kind of like a celebration of life. I don't. It's not going to be more like a. It's not going to be like a funeral format, I think. So I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, that's what happened. That's why I couldn't come on last week. Um, but before that happened, I was in Arizona, and I went to a conference. A small conference. I don't know. There was probably, if I had to guess, 50 people there. Some of the speakers were Mike Andes, Tommy Mello, um, a few like business coaching type speakers. Um, let's see who else, and the owner of Keep. They're the ones that started Infusionsoft. Um, I don't know, 12 years ago, I think, and they changed their name to Keep. And that guy's name is Clayt. I don't. He has a book. Um, I haven't read it yet, actually. So anyway, I got a couple of books. I've already had this Elevate book, but it was signed by my man crush, Tommy Mello. Anybody that knows me knows I have a man crush, and it's Tommy Mello. Um, I need. I'll go into it a little more in a little bit with him, but the owner of Keep is Clayt Mask. Um, just cool guy. It's my second time hearing that guy talk. Um, Basically, one of the segments that he was talking about was when Infusionsoft was kind of going downhill, and he talked about how he had to turn it around and kind of get it to where it is now. And that was a cool talk. Mike Andy's talk was more geared towards, hey, these are the four things you need to worry about, like for your business. Some of the things are like, find the biggest problems that you have in your company, work on, like, make that the priority. And then once you've got that handled, find the next thing. Um, and obviously, it goes into it a little more than that. In fact, I'm going to try and find my little talk, my notes here. So basically, his talk, Mike Andy's talk, was you need to find four things that make a good company, right? Fix the ugliest thing first, then redo it, find the next ugliest thing, and keep going. But the four things that he wanted to focus on was, number one was money, have at least 1 month's worth of revenue in the bank. Um, And yeah, that's good advice. And he went on in detail about why that's a good idea. Two, leads. Make sure that you don't have less than 2 weeks of backlog uh, worth of work. That's kind of like your gauge. He may have said a different number, but I wrote 2 weeks because we already kind of a trigger here at my office where if if we have, I guess it's 3 weeks. If we don't have anything booked out more than 3 weeks, we ramp up marketing for whatever division is kind of the one that's hurting the most. But anyway, he may have said 2 weeks. I may have wrote 2 weeks. I'm not sure, but he basically talked about you need a backlog and make sure that you figure out what yours is so that you can always have work coming in for those type of services that are kind of like a one-time thing. Like cleanups, that kind of thing. Walter, good morning, man. Looking slim. Yes, I am. I've been working out like crazy. All right, I lost my place here. All right, here we go. So that was the second thing, was the leads. The third was labor. Basically, he's saying that if your work hours are exceeding your man hours, that's bad. That means you got to keep your guys busy. So, for example, and again, I was taking notes and stuff, and so I don't have every single note of every section he talked about, but what he basically was saying there was, if you've got a 12-hour workday, but you only have 9 hours booked for your workers, well, then you've still got 3 hours for every employee that you need to figure out how to get booked on the schedule. So he's like, you need to focus on that, and that too is our focus too. I mean, we definitely try and do that. In fact, our man hours probably exceed the work hours, but that's a good problem to have for whatever, something to monitor, at the very least. And leadership, if anything is going wrong, you need to look in the mirror. That's basically what he was saying. And I'm on that trip right now, dude. That's me all the way, because I have read Extreme Ownership, and basically that is the thing that what's his name? Jocko keeps pounding in that book, is if people aren't doing what is the scope of work, if they're not doing the way they're supposed to do it, it's because you're not explaining it right. So it's your fault. So he didn't mention that book, but that's kind of what he did say. Leadership, if anything is going wrong, you need to look in the mirror. So those are the four things Mike Andes talked about. Clayt, who was the owner of Keep, and that's where the meeting was, and we were there for 3 days. Was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? 4 days, I think. Map the process to find your weakness. So what he did was this guy Clayt, he had kind of like a whiteboard, or not a whiteboard. He had a presentation, and basically on the presentation, he went over he drew a map of the process from the time a customer calls his business, what happens when the worker gets off the phone or whatever, what's the next step, and he just laid it out kind of like a map, kind of like a funnel, you know what I mean? And he thinks that everybody should do that. No matter what business it is, you should do that. So he went into that, have standard operating systems, which in our industry, I mean, it's fun to say that we need to have standard operating systems, right? I mean, you get to a property, you should be, you should walk the whole property first, no matter how many times you've mowed that freaking lawn. Walk the front, walk the back, make sure the toys are picked up, the dog poop is picked up, make sure that there's no funny business happening at this property that you can get blamed for, okay? And then you get back to your truck, and then you get your edger out and you start edging, right, with the hard edger blade, and then you put that away, and then you get the blower, and then you start blowing it into the lawn, right? And then you get the trimmer, and then you trim around the fence line, the trees, whatever you got to do all around the property. And then maybe that's when you get the blower out and you blow it all back into the lawn. And then you get the mower out and then you pick it all up, right? And then you mow the lawn, whether a big mower, little mower, and then you get the blower out again and you blow it all off, make it all look good, and then you make sure the patio is blown off and the back porch, all these things, right? And then whatever else you guys need to do, like I don't know, if you zap the weeds in the cracks of the street curbing or the sidewalk, whatever. You have it laid out, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You're supposed to do the 20-point check inspection at every property, whatever. It's great to say that, but you know that's not what our guys do. They get to the property, they hop out, they immediately get the trimmer, they start going, and then they get the mower and they go. And sometimes they mow first. I've seen my guys mow first. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Why would you mow first? So they mow first, and then they trim the fence line and all that stuff, and then they whatever. And it's like, well, somehow it looks good. I don't know how the hell they did that, but it looks good. They do it in weird orders. Why don't they just do it the way that I tell them to? So that's a standard operating system, is when your guys will actually do it the way that you want them to do it, right? But that's not the way it probably happens. So, but he's saying you need to figure out a way to make it happen. Because, it's just the right thing to do. So if another worker has to mow that same property, the customer can kind of get the same exact look every single time. And I get it. It makes sense. Yes, I would love that to be the case. And maybe someday I'm going to be more forceful about that. But for now, I just want the properties to look good. I want the guys to finish at the time they're supposed to be done. And I want when I get a phone call, that's what happens. I'm going to try and put it on. I'm going to try and put it on airplane mode. I don't think that's going to help, but whatever. Let's see if that works. So again, all I care about is my guys get to a property, get the job done on the list, make it look good, and finish in budget time, and then finish their entire list. That's what I more than anything care about. Now, so I give them I empower my guys to just kind of do it the way that they want, so that they're happy doing the work. It flows good, and we don't have any problems. So that way kind of works for me. All right, I'm gonna read some of these. I have to work on these estimates. I'll rewatch later today. Have a good day. All right, Walter. See you, man. We mow first with Bermuda because the lawn doesn't get super tall. Fescue or rye. What up, Roy? Looking good. Keep it up. It was cool hanging out with you in Phoenix. It definitely was, brother. It would not have been the same without you. So I definitely appreciate you there. Man, my screen froze. I think I'm back up, so we're good. We're doing good right now. All right, so that was Clay Mask. And then he also talked about, all right, I don't really know what the title of this little section of his talk was, but basically it was, if 5% is not going good, or it's not getting done, 5% of a process is not getting done, that's a huge problem. So basically what he's saying is, like, let's say, if I were to ask you, hey, how's your Mo Tech number 3 doing? And he's doing great. All right, walk me through the day. He comes to the shop. He makes sure all his tools are there. He goes, does the properties, and it looks great. And then he comes back to his shop, and sometimes he's really tired, so he won't unload the truck. He'll just do it in the morning. But yeah, so he's doing great. Well, guess what? That little thing that he's not doing is a problem. You know what I mean? Just because you have a worker that does really well, and you let them get away with like this little thing, it's like, would you, if you were mowing, would you wait till the next day to unload? Why not do it when you get done? Just be done, start fresh. So that's what he's saying, and that's just a small example. I made that example up. He didn't talk about mowing at all. He talked about his business, which is software and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just kind of with my notes telling you what he talked about, basically saying just because your top people are top people, you don't let them not do those little 5% things that, if a new person came in, you'd force them to do it. You should do that with your team, even with the great ones. And I thought that was noteworthy, so I put that in there. Basically, he is saying a Mo guy is doing everything but forgets to take pictures. So that's another thing I thought of when I was there. Maybe your guy does everything, but he just doesn't take before and after pictures, and you tell everybody they got to do it. We even have it in the. There's some services that the software makes them take a before and after picture, and sometimes they don't do it because they're like, I forgot, and I already started the job, and we're already working for like 5 minutes, so we just kind of went going. It's like, all right, dude. Well, this is what's probably going to happen now. So you gotta keep up with it, which is really hard to do. I'm for the workers. I am pro worker, 100%. So those kind of things have always been hard for me to kind of say there's a consequence for not taking the picture. I'm like, no, he's a hard worker. He didn't have time to do it. If I was out there working, I wouldn't have time to do it either. You know what I mean? But either you're going to do it, are you going to tell everybody to do things, or you're not? So you got to make a decision. You got to hold firm to it. It will actually help the workers be better. You know what needs to be done. So why not make everybody do what they have to do? And so that's kind of a trip we've already been on. And that's why I put in the notes. This is a huge problem, and we need to suspend the worker. That was an example. Hey man. So we've talked about it with our team, what we're gonna do with things. We're already do a pretty decent job, so I don't feel like I need to like really harp on too many things. Obviously we don't take before and after pictures of every single service, every single Mo service. That's just too much. But we do it with garden cleanups, with hour blocks. If we got 4-hour blocks, things like that. Let's see. Then there was a speaker named Ben, and his focus on the talk was to have an inside within your team that you already have, build a media team with the workers you already have. So if you've got like 5 Mo guys, try and build a media team with them. So basically you say to your team, you say to the 5 Mo guys, hey guys, I want to start a media team within the company. So who wants to be part of this media team? And let's say two of the 5 Mo guys say, hey, I want to be part of the media team. Okay, great. Here's what you're going to need. I'm going to give you a tripod. I'm going to give you a memory card, and every time you submit a good video, I'm going to pay you this much. You know what I mean? So I wrote this down because we kind of do that. I have an employee who takes all the videos. So if you've looked at my Instagram, on my Lawn Thumbs Instagram, you'll see that there's tons and tons of videos. Those are from pretty much 2 workers. And I pay them. So I pay them for every video. And the thing is, I bid it out to them. So they'll send me a video. They'll just say, hey man, I've got 5 videos, and they basically text them to me. And then I download them from my text. So the videos, let's say there'll be 3 videos. One of them will be like freaking amazing, right? Like a video that you're just like, yes, I'm gonna boost this on Facebook, on Instagram. I can get customers with this video. The other video might be decent. It's good enough for social media, but it's just, it's not the best, but it's not bad quality either. It's just kind of like, if I got nothing to post, I'm gonna put this video up. And then there's another video that's just kind of like a good standard video that's like, oh, this is cool, I'm going to post it. I don't think it's going to bring in, I'm not going to boost it and sell services with this video, but I think it's a good video. I think it's cool, so I'm going to post it. So what I do is I'll say, depending on that video that I'm like, yes, this is the best video. I'm gonna make money with this video. I'll probably bid that out at $30. I'll probably bid the one that I don't think I'll probably use, but if I don't use it, I'll say, I'm not gonna pay you for that one. Sorry. And this is why. You have to tell them why you don't want the video. That way they don't make that same kind of video in the future. And then the third video that is okay, that's good, that I want to use it, I'll probably bid that out at $15. So the $30 plus the 15, you're at $45. And I'll say, hey man, for the 3 videos, one of them I don't want, so I don't want it. I'll pay you $45 for the other 2. And then I wait to hear back from them. Nobody's ever told me, no, that's not enough, because it took them 2 minutes to make these videos, all right? It took them 2 minutes to make these videos. So of course they're not gonna complain with $45. That's my process. You can say, I'll pay you $5 a video. I don't care what you tell them. But the guy so I pay one of my guys on average $70 to $100 probably a week. Because, and sometimes more. That's on a slow week. Because he just keeps the videos coming, man. And I use them on Instagram. So the way he does it is he'll make a video and he'll edit it himself and just send it to me. And it'll be like 20 seconds. Some of them are like 10 seconds all the way to a minute, maybe even less. And then basically from there, I take it and then I add the music when I post it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how my media team works. But he got me thinking, you know what, maybe I could do a little bit more with this video, with this team. So here's kind of what I wrote. Well, basically I wrote what I just told you. The way I do it is currently I look at the videos that they send me and I tell them how much I'm willing to pay for them. Because some videos are not good for whatever reason and I know I won't use them. In that case, I say, I don't want this video because this is the reason why. So I won't pay for that and I will delete it. If it's a good video, I will tell them that I want more videos like this and I will pay this much for the video. They like to know why I like the video so that they can make more of them. So the ones that are the higher priced, they want to know why that one's a high price so they can make more of them. And I try and stay consistent, man. And I use my marketing budget for that. Let's see, what else? And then from there, oh yeah, okay. Then we went to Tommy Mello's shop, okay? And man, I just, that guy, dude, he's just incredible. So a year ago, I went to Mike Andy's Landscape Summit. When I was in the airport, the airport, you transfer to Seattle so you can go to Bellingham. In Seattle, who's standing right in front of me at the gate? Freaking Tommy Mello. And I'm like, Tommy Mello, I love what you do. Thank you for everything you're doing for the service industry. Shook his hand and you know what? He was like, thank you. And he was asking me some questions like, what's your profit? Immediately, the first thing he says is, great, what's your profit? And I'm like, 20%. At that time, which was the year, I met him in 2023 in January. So the year 2022, I had the best year ever. Ever. So I was really proud of that number. I knew that number and I told him that's what it was. And then he asked me some other questions. What was my revenue? And I told him, blah. Anyway, that's kind of the first thing he said. The first thing I said to him was like, dude, thank you for everything you're doing for the service industry. And the first thing he said to me was, great, what's your profit? And I told him, great, what's your revenue? Boom, I told him. And then from there, we just kind of waiting for the flight. So he was just kind of, he would walk. He was kind of looking for food. He'd come back, and I'd be talking to his girlfriend, Bree, at the time. And, I was asking her questions like, dude, how do you keep up with somebody like that? You know what I mean? Um, she was his assistant too. So, I felt like that was an appropriate question to ask. And anyway, she was like, yeah, dude, he's just all over the place. It's really hard, but, he he has a schedule and he follows it to the T. So that's how that was they're able to work like that. And that was great. So we get to his shop. So anyway, so we were at the airport, and then again, this was a year ago. And then our plane, was about to leave, and I was in the same plane with him, and we went to Seattle. No, sorry, Bellingham, from Seattle. And then we landed at Bellingham, and by then I kind of know, I've been talking to them for about an hour in Seattle and a little bit in the airport, in the airplane, but they were about a seat behind me, not right behind me, but the one next to him. So it's like I didn't really talk to him, but I would say like something, like, hey, when you land, are you taking an Uber or stuff like that, And then we land, and I'm trying, like, my Uber app just did not connect. It couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi for whatever reason. And I'm trying, and then Bree, she's like, all right, I got an Uber. And then I said, man, I can't get an Uber or whatever. She said, why don't you just ride with us? And I was like, are you serious? That's great. Yeah, thank you. So I rode with them. So it's me, Bree, and Tommy Mello going to the airport, or going to the hotel where Landscape Summit is. We arrived to the hotel, and Bree said, hey, we're gonna go to the with the bar, around 6, something like that. I don't know. They're gonna have dinner there and all that kind of stuff. So okay, great. I don't think she was inviting me, but kind of letting me know, hey, if you want to come down, we'll be there. So I go down around 6, and there they are, and they invite me to their, they tell me to sit by them. So I sit by them. It's about 6 o'clock, and I'm hanging with Tommy Mello till like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Basically, we shut the place down. And the whole time, I'm just asking him questions after questions after questions. He's starting to get comfortable with me. He's showing me his Service Titan numbers from the revenues, from like what his best tech was making, what his whole company was making for that day. And he was sharing me all those numbers. I was just asking him all day. There wasn't from 6 to 10, there wasn't a moment where we were just sitting quiet. I freaking used that time. I knew that I was in the craziest opportunity I've ever been in, where I could ask this dude any question I wanted. And he was just, boom, giving them to me. You know what I mean? He just, no hold barred. He just answering all my questions. And that was great. I had a great time. It was awesome. And I appreciated him. He even did a training video while he was sitting there. And then he sent it to his new tech. And then he had me watch it and kind of critique it. And dude, I'm not going to say anything bad about this video. I'm like, dude, it's great. It's awesome. Anyway, then he goes and, we have the conference thing, and I don't talk to him. I did talk to him one more time. I introduced him to somebody I guess a coach, you would say, or a mentor. I introduced him, and I don't know if they've kept in touch, but that was basically the last time I talked to him. And then fast forward almost a year to the date exactly, I'm at A1 Garage Door, and dude, this dude is just insane. He's just the most different person I've ever met in my life. So we've done shop tours. I've done shop tours now. I probably did, I want to say seven shop tours, maybe 8. And what they do is the owner of those companies that come out, like, they'll come out where all of us are standing there, and they just say, hey, thanks everybody. We so appreciate you coming here. We're going to answer any questions you have. I'm going to show you how we run our business. You can talk to the technicians. You do whatever you need to get all the information you need. All right, come with me, guy. Whatever. That's how they do it. Tommy Mello comes out. He opens the door. He comes in. And what does this guy do? He shakes every single person's hand and says, how are you? How are you doing? I'm Tommy. How are you? What's going on? I'm Tommy Mello. And he's shaking every single person's hand. That's never happened at these shop tours. That just shows you how different this guy is. Like, it makes so much sense. You know what I mean? Like he just knows that we went through all this trouble, all this money. We're not paying him. First of all, I don't think, from what I understand, he didn't get a penny for doing this for us. But he probably knows that we paid a shit ton of money to go to this thing, and so he took the time to shake all our hands, and I was just blown away. Again, this guy can't do any wrong with me because he keeps showing me how awesome he is. So he comes around and he gets to me, and the whole time I'm thinking, all right, he's going to remember me. I hope he remembers me. We literally hung out for a night for like 5 hours, if you count the airplane ride too and everything. So I wonder if he's going to remind me. And I was thinking, well, should I remind him? I don't know if I should remind him right when I see him or just say, hey, what's going on? I don't know. So anyway, he gets to me and he doesn't remember me. Oh man, he just like, hey, I'm Tommy, what's going on? What's your name? And I'm like, I'm Freddie, And that was cool, but I got to admit I was a little sad that he couldn't remember me, but I don't blame him, dude. It was one day and it was a year ago, and he meets so many people. I mean, tons. I mean, just on that visit alone, there was like 50 or 60 of us. So, I mean, I don't blame him, but I was like, damn, I wish I would have reminded him right when I saw him, because later at the end of the tour, I did kind of have a moment with him where I could say, hey man, a year ago we hung out in Seattle, and he goes, now I remember you. So it's kind of like, I feel like he thought he knew me, but didn't want to say anything. So I feel like I should have reminded him right at the beginning. I think that would have made that shop tour a little different, with maybe him pointing me out. Because when he gave his talk in Seattle, in Bellingham, he put me in his talk. He put me in his presentation. So there was a chance he would have called me again. You know what I mean? While he was talking, but whatever. Anyway, then he shows us his whole all the cool parts of his shop, right? So his office, the gym. He showed us his gym. He showed us this little kind of shop where they sell snacks to the workers. They also have a room where you can just eat whatever you want, but they do have a little more premium store where you can actually buy stuff, and they have a cashier and everything there. And then he showed us the training room where everybody sits down and they face the speaker, and there's a whiteboard and all that kind of stuff there. That was really cool because I've seen that on his social media stuff so many times. It was really cool to be sitting there. Oh, I'm in the freaking room, And then we went to his training center where he's got 10 garages, where that's where they actually train people to be technicians. And again, dude, so he has his garages with the door, and then 10-foot garage, so everything a garage would have. Obviously didn't have any cars, but he did have a Harley in one of them. He had all these really nice toolboxes. Some of them were brand names on purpose. So I had Snap-on tools, so that they train these workers if they see these type of brands, to know that, hey, this homeowner really takes tools seriously. If you see this brand, because um, not everybody has Snap-on tools, you know, but if you see that, that's a great way to kind of connect with the homeowner and say, hey, dude, we love Snap-on tools as well. Like, that's really cool, you know, and you can kind of build a rapport with them. So if you see the Harley, like they have a real Harley in there, so you can kind of see what, if there's a Harley in there, you can say, oh, it's a Harley, you know, like nice, you know, and you can talk to the homeowner. Um, they have a training in that same training center. They have a kitchen and a living room, and it's all designed because usually that's where you go in and talk business with the homeowner, with his business, right? So they have a kitchen with a countertop, and they basically say this is where you should kind of stand when you're talking to customers about things. And if you're in the living room, this is where you should. This is what you should do. And they even have like a fake dog, and kind of have it in there, kind of so you just get used to. Oh, you've got a dog, really cool. I don't know. I just think he takes training to the next level. All those things are just so impressive. He told us that he has a apartment complex. It's just like 2 blocks down, and that's where when they bring in, you know, tons of people for training, they have an apartment that they stay at for the whole time they're training, and then they go to work, and they leave and they go to their apartment, and it's just a training apartment. But I don't know, man. It's crazy how, and you think it's a garage door company. You know what I mean? Like, would you before Tommy Mello, I don't know if anybody would have thought that garage doors could be that like sophisticated, the training and the opportunity and the job. I've had garage door people come into my house all the time, all the time, at least once a year, and I've owned a house for, I don't know, lots of years. You know what I mean? Um, Probably 15 years, something like that. And I've always had a garage door. Sometimes I fix the garage door my own self, and I thought it was kind of cool. I thought, oh, I literally thought a long time ago I could probably make a business fixing garage doors. But I was like, I don't want to do it. Um, but you never thought there's a company out there that could be a, you know, $250 million in revenue, garage doors. So I kind of compare that to landscaping and lawn care, and I feel like there's more opportunity in this industry than there is in garage doors. You know what I mean? Um, and so I feel like, why aren't we like huge like that? You know, um, like it's the mindset, you know, and that's the other thing. Like this guy was talking and talking. It's all about mindsets. So when he buys a business, he looks at 5 KPIs, key performance indicators, and he can tell immediately how he can make his money back from buying that company if they hit these 5 KPIs. And these 5 KPIs he uses in his own business, and he kind of merges them back in with the companies he buys. And it's really interesting because I kind of do the same thing, but definitely not on his level. And the customers that I buy are from like high school kids. So obviously there's a lot of missed, you know, pricing that's probably not right, things like that. But sorry, he looks at 4 KPIs. He looks at the booking rate. So when a call comes in, what's the percentage that you actually send a tech to go look at it? Because, you know, you answer the call and you say, hey, yeah, this is great. There's going to be a, you know, a diagnostic fee for looking at it. And a customer say, you know what, I'm going to look around. Okay, so what's the closing rate for that booking rate to get a tech on the property? So that's the first thing he looks at. The second thing is the average ticket that the tech sells. So he basically, the company that he's buying, if he looks at it and they say, you know, it's like $250. Well, he's like, dude, there's huge opportunity there. Um, our booking rate, he said his booking rate was like 1,500, might have been 1,800, which is exactly what mine is, to be honest with you. Whatever his was, I think it's mine is $1,500 And that was with kind of a slow year last year. We've had better years where it was 1,800, but we got it down to 1,500 this last year. But we didn't do a lot of spring wake up packages last year. That probably hurt us with those numbers. We only did the spring wake up packages to customers that asked for it. We didn't even market it. We didn't even ask anybody to do it. They just kind of knew, hey, it's the beginning of the year. Can we do the spring wake up package? Okay, we'll put you on. It just was a weird year because we started in late April. So by then we're already like behind mowing kind of stuff, and we just wanted to get going. But this year we're going to do a spring wake up package. So our average ticket should go up. Conversion rate. So you get the tech to go look at the property and do a diagnostic. How many of those customers are saying yes to the estimate? So that's the third number he looks at. And then the cost per client. That's the fourth thing he looks at. And I don't know. Basically, he's saying you need to have those kind of KPIs when you're kind of buying other companies too, or in our case, buying customers, not companies, and things like that. He said that there's a couple softwares that we should look into. One of them is Local Vikings, which I think is just kind of like a reputation management company that like monitors your Google, and if something, I don't know, they try and get you reviews, but they also do something with like your Google My Business. That might be what it is actually. And then Chirp. It's a company that he actually is, I think, a part owner of. And what they do is they automate. It's like an automation. Basically, it's automation for Service Titan, I think. Jobs that didn't get booked, the software kind of keeps the customer updated on that kind of stuff and closes more jobs, apparently. He said that it's going to add like $1 million or $2 million on revenue to his business just with that software, because it keeps reminding the customer that they need to book this job. Somebody said, hey, what's a good book to read? And he just kind of, if you listen to Tommy Mello, if you watch any of his stuff, and if you watched any of his podcasts or any interview he's on, he always talks, he'll be throwing out books that he's reading because he's constantly reading books. I just wrote the ones that I could keep up with, but Influence, I don't know if that's the whole title or just the title of the book or just part of it. I don't know. The $100 Million Offer, Go for No, Split the Difference, Who, Not How, 10X is Better Than 2X, Buy Back Your Time, Private Equity by this author named Coffee, okay? And then Empire Builder by that author named Coffee as well, and Rocket Fuel. So I've read Rocket Fuel. It's been a long time, so I probably need to read that one again. It was 2020 when I read that. No, sorry, 2019 when I read that, because in 2020 I used part of that book for my meeting, and I remember that was the first time we had like this huge manager meeting, and that was a good book, but I need to read it again. So and then he talked about you need to bonus employees for bringing in A players. So it's not alone enough to just bonus a worker that referred somebody. If they referred somebody that is an A player, you almost have to reward the employee that brought him in even more, just so that they try and find more people like that. But bonus them big. That's what he kept saying. It's like, dude, don't just bonus them. Make it a big deal, a big bonus, So they and others do it again and again. You must get rid of low producers. This is a must. He was like, I can't stress this enough. You have to get rid of people that aren't producing. Get rid of them. He's like, dude, this is the most important thing you can do for your operation. Is if somebody's not producing or hitting the numbers you need them to, you got to get rid of them. Make room for the A players. He says that nobody likes B players. Like the A players don't like B players. They like A players. Bonus employees for getting customers. Again, if this is the culture, they will do it over and over again. So that's what he's saying. He's like, dude, bonus employees for bringing in customers as well, and make it like a normal thing. He went on, if I remember right, he had employees that were like, that would tally and count how many people they brought in, and they were like looking forward to the payoff. You know, like they knew they were going to get $10,000, you know what I mean, or something like that. They knew it. And so it was kind of like a side gig for these people. It's like a lot of this stuff that Tommy Mello was talking about, like finding A players, getting customers for the company. It was almost like it was a side job for these workers, because they would bring in more money as a bonus on top of getting their bonus for performance pay for doing their jobs. They were also getting more bonus for bringing in people or bringing in work. I thought that was kind of cool. He says that when you're really small, you don't need to worry too much about gas cards, you know, like having a gas account so that, you know, your guys can only buy gas at these locations. They can't, with that gas card, they can't buy food. He's like, dude, when you're small, it's fine. But when you get bigger, he's like, the honor system just doesn't work. He's like, it's just the way it is. Sorry to tell you all this, but when you have a lot of employees, you got to have gas cards that are strictly for gas and at the pumps you want. Like, he's like, this is really important. The bigger you are, the more important this becomes. And so I wrote that down because we did have that talk. My GM mentioned that we should probably get gas cards, and I was in that, you know, I'm still on that fence where it's like, no, my guys, they're just getting gas, you know, they're not buying food with it, and you know, it's like, dude, we're not getting all the receipts from everybody, so we're not matching the receipts. It's getting to the point where it's too much to look at, so we probably need to do this. So I wrote it down because he's probably right, my GM's probably right, and I just need to get up to speed on that. There's a company called Rapid Hire. I've looked into them. I never call them, but they've got a lot of stuff online. Rapid Hire. It's good for hiring companies. They process them. They screen them. They background check them. They do all whatever plan you get. They'll do it. But one of the things that I was really inspired. I don't think we can do this. We don't make enough money, but Tommy Mello has something called the Pinnacle Trip. It's for the mega producers. I don't know. I don't know what his threshold is, but I think he said it's $1 million. So if there's a producer that brings in $1 million, he flies them and their spouse to Cabo, and it's called the Pinnacle Trip. And also, if somebody referred one of those workers that made the Pinnacle Trip, that worker that referred him also goes to the trip with the spouse or somebody else. So he's like, this is like a group of people, they know they're badasses and they always want to hit that, to go to that trip again, and they do it every year. So I was telling that to my general manager, and you know, we immediately realized we can't go to Cabo, we can't go to Hawaii. We can't afford that. It's too much. But why don't we come up with something? So we came up with something. We're gonna call it the Cabron Award. The Cabron Award. Okay? Cabron means like badass in Spanish. It means just like tough dude. And we're gonna call it the Cabron Award, and we're gonna give them something. We're thinking something along the lines of $2,500, and the way that our threshold is gonna be counted by man-hour rate. So man hours. So we're gonna track everybody's man-hour every day, which we're doing that anyway. We're gonna tally it up, and whoever hits 2,500 man-hours from the from their jobs, from all the jobs all year, 2,500. Whoever hits that will get the Cabron Award. So it could be just one person, it could be 10 people, it could be all the workers. They'll all get it. So we haven't locked down what the Cabron Award is going to be, but we're thinking it's going to be $2,500 plus maybe some other things, like, you know what I mean, like plus plus a prize, like some sort of prize, or we'll just give out cash. I don't know, but it's going to be at least $2,500. Could be more. Have not decided. But what we did was we looked at the highest producer that we had last year, and they did. Oh, I can't remember now. I'm on the spot. I want to say like 1,800 man hours, 1,800, something like that. And we thought, okay, now if this person pushed and worked on the weekends and also worked worked later in the day, knowing they can get, if they hit 18 and they did it, like, you can tell, like, based on what we looked at, we know that they had to work pretty hard to get that. You know what I mean? It was like they were working more probably than anybody else. But could they have hit 2,500? And we think the answer is yes. If they would have worked weekends, if they would work, a little bit later, not every day, but a lot of the days, not going home when their list was done, maybe start doing other people's list, we think they could hit 2,500. And so that's going to be our threshold. So whoever hits 2,500, and that person is going to make a lot of money just because they did that. You know what I mean? Actually, I wish you know me, I'm not great with numbers, guys. I'm actually really bad with numbers. But let's say, so the thing is, 2,500 hours times, we'll say 25, is $62,000. So that's how much the tech would make. But there's overtime in that. You know what I mean? There's overtime with that. So they'll probably make more like 75K. You know what I mean? I don't know. Again, I'm not a numbers guy, so I'm just kind of throwing that out. But anyway, that's a lot of money. So if anybody like on my team makes that much money, they're gonna get rewarded even more. And they're gonna get the Cabron Award. I want to get like a trophy, and I give them a trophy for having the Cabron Award at my company. So that's what inspired me. Those are things that inspired me, and I'm thinking about from the whole Tommy Mello experience. Guys, I definitely recommend going to Tommy Mello's shop. He basically said that, if you reach out to him and you want to do a shop tour, just reach out to him and he'll make the time. He basically said that to everybody. And I don't think it was just because of the group that we were in. I think he was just basically saying he does that. People reach out to him and he's like, sure, come on in and I'll give you a shop tour. And the dude is just incredible. It's just incredible. Definitely, that is somebody that I want to model like my success after. I've never really had anybody that I said, dude, I want my business to be like that. But that's what I want. I want my business to be like that. He also talked about a lot of other things. Some things kind of like saying he's really big on selling. He thinks that all of us should grow our businesses really good and sell part of it, and take some chips off the table and do some stuff, some great things with the money you're going to get. And he went into detail about it. It wasn't like just off the cuff, oh yeah, you should sell and take some chips off the table. No, he explained why. He explained that you need to, what is the words? I'm so not used to thinking that way that I don't know a lot of the stuff he was saying. But basically, you need to reap some of the rewards for building a good company. And I'm all about that. Like I have some close friends that they kind of get on me, not nowadays, but like earlier days, like maybe 5 years ago or less. I paid myself. I was always a fan of paying myself, because like that's why I wanted to start a business, so I could make some money and go on some trips and have a nice paycheck. You know what I mean? And so I've always thought that anyway. And obviously, um, that's not exactly what he was talking about, but I'm a fan of possibly. I didn't want to sell my company. I don't want to sell, but I've already had this conversation with my leadership team. Guys, maybe we do sell a portion of this company in the future. We build it up so it's freaking rock solid, like the best landscape lawn care company in Utah. All right. Let's say we're the best landscape company in Utah 5 years from now. Somebody offers to buy us or buy part of it. Guess what? We're all going to make some money. We're going to make a lot of money. So maybe it's something to look into. So I don't know. Based on that, on a couple of shop tours that I've been on already, one of the topics on one of those shop tours was selling. The guy basically answering all the questions, because he was the one that bought this company, this landscape company. And so he was answering the questions as a buyer, not as the seller. And the sellers were there too. They still work for him. He bought the company. And I learned so much, guys, so much from that visit. It was an incredible shop tour, because that was the topic. This was a company that was bought, and the person that bought it was, around. He wasn't working in the business, but he's making sure everything's working great. And the owners that sold it are still there, but now they're kind of the top managers or CEOs or whatever of the company, of that landscape company, but they don't own it anymore. So they were answering questions, and so was the person that bought it, and it was just awesome experience, and I learned so much. It basically made me realize that selling doesn't mean you're giving away your legacy, and maybe you are, I don't know. But in my case, I don't see anybody in my family ever running my business. I just don't see that. I could be wrong. My daughters could say, you know what, I want to do it. I don't, my son-in-laws could want to do it. My son could want to do it. But right now, I don't think they would want to, and it wouldn't hurt my feelings if they don't want to. This thing isn't easy, man. This is not easy. So if I could, grow this thing and take some chips off the table and reinvest money, because what Tommy did was somebody bought a big section of his business. I think they bought 51% or maybe even 60% of his company. They own more shares than he does, but he put a lot of that back into the company. So basically it's kind of like what he didn't say this, and I'm just kind of guessing, but the reason why Elon Musk is the richest person in the world is because shares they were going to kick him out of Tesla. They were going to kick Elon Musk out of Tesla. But he was like, you don't need to pay me unless we have good quarters and good years. And then you pay me in stock. It's that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So he wasn't really getting a check. He wasn't getting paid, but he had so much money and he put it into Tesla that they kept them in there going, okay, that's a good deal for Tesla, because if we don't need to pay this guy unless it does really well. And guess what? Tesla did very, very well. And then he got paid back in the shares that he was basically promised. And it was a ton, because he wasn't getting paid. And I think Tommy Mello did something similar to that. So he's betting on himself, putting tons of money back in that they paid him. He put it back in, and he's going to get paid on the next payout. And from what I understand, again, I'm not a numbers guy, and some of those things go fly over my head. But what he said was, when they go public in a year, he's going to pocket $1 billion, $1 billion. So that's or 2 years, 1 or 2 years. So that's what he basically said at this thing, and I believe it. All right, where are we at on time? And then I had some great networking talks with people in the group. There was a couple of talks at the last networking event was in Starbucks. I think it was the morning of my airplane back to Utah, and that was one of the best talks. It was with Orban, who was a guest on the podcast 2 episodes ago, and then a future guest named David, and I got to get him on here. That's going to be cool. So anyway, that's where we're at today. I'm going to cut it right now. It's been an hour, and I've got to get ready for the celebration of life that we've got going on. All right, guys, thanks for everything. Thanks for stopping by. At one point, we had like 20 people on at the same time. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, guys, catch you later.